10 minutes into the flight, the captain told his co-pilot to take over the controls. The co-pilot flipped through pages of a quick reference handbook, but there wasn't enough time. The MAX 8 plummeted nose first into the Java Sea at a reported 500 miles per hour, its airframe disintegrating on impact. The pilot, co-pilot, and the 187 other souls aboard were killed instantly. So, those are the words of author Donald J. Porter from his book Flight Failure about a 2018 plane crash in Indonesia. Now, if this kind of news is feeling eerily a little all too familiar, well, you're not alone. With multiple plane crashes in 2 weeks, including the first fatal commercial plane crash since 2001, I mean, you might be wondering, should I really ever get on an airplane ever again? So buckle up, make sure that your tray tables are in their upright position, because we're about to be wheels up on a journey of, are we safe in the skies? Why does it feel like more planes are going down? Let's do this. Welcome to Bookwise from bookclub.com. I am your host, Britt Brewer, A.K.A. Dr. Books. I am not a licensed medical professional, nor am I a sanctioned pilot. Here at Bookwise, we don't touch grass, we don't go outside, we read books, and then I come back to you and I go, hey, here's what the experts say. So first up, we have Flight Failure, Investigating the Nuts and Bolts of Air Disasters and Aviation Safety by Donald J. Porter. He is author of several different books about aviation, but he is a former engineer and he really knows his stuff. I learned a lot from this book. And next we have Why Planes Crash and Accident Investigators Fight for Safe Skies by David Susi with Aussie cheek. Learned a lot about this from first person POV. Well, first, before we delve into anything, let's just have some relevant stats. In 2024, there were 334 aviation fatalities worldwide, while over 4.5 billion passengers flew that year. Okay, this means that the chance of dying in a plane crash was roughly 1 in 13.5 million. So if you're taking chances, not terrible. Air travel remains safer than driving, biking, or listen up, even walking for all my parkour hardcore people out there who love to walk hard, with accident rates declining over the past 30 years. So I'm not trying to be a Pollyanna. I understand that this is the internet and we need to talk in extremes and need to be like, guess what? If you get on a flight, you're going to freaking die. You might, but it'll be roughly 1 in 13.5 million percentage chance, even with everything that's been going on. So I just want to let you know, you can go to Disney World. You can go to Disney World. It can happen. So next up, we're going to talk about, though, why the small percentage of bad stuff in the skies is happening. So first up, human error. According to the FAA, leading cause of aviation accidents, human error, and this accounts for approximately 53% of incidents. This includes things such as pilot mistakes, miscommunication among crew members, and errors in judgment during critical flight phases. What are some of the reasons why there might be some human error? Okay, this is where we get into understaffing and overworked crews. Regarding the January 27th, the recent DC collision, reports indicate that the staff at Ronald Reagan National Airport was understaffed and overworked at the time of this midair collision. And an internal FAA report suggested the controller on duty was performing tasks typically handled by 2 individuals. Okay, so which leads us to the DEI of it all. There's actually no credible evidence linking DEI initiatives to the air traffic controls shortage or to mishandling of hiring or foul play in hiring practices. Actually, what happened is that there's just a shortage of air traffic controllers. And one of the reasons why is periodic government shutdowns and hiring freezes, they disrupt the recruitment and the training pipeline. And, to be an air traffic controller, it takes a lot of training. And so during these periods, the FAA, they're unable to hire or train new controllers. And then this exacerbates hiring shortages. And it's gotten worse because we've had like 3 shutdowns in the past decade. I mean, it's a snowball effect so that there's just not a lot of people filling these jobs. And if that's the case, then the ones who actually have the jobs are severely overworked. And that's when you're overworked, when you're tired, when you've just done multiple shifts in a row, that's when mistakes happen. And it is human error and it happens to the best of us. So the other reason is because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember the pandemic, that whole thing? Yeah, that also exacerbated hiring freezes. Okay, so it has to be stated, this is where we are covering Archicus here, but the recent plane crash between U.S. Airlines and a government helicopter, this is an ongoing investigation. And no way are we saying that it was the air traffic controller. That's not, it's just one of a few factors that have been discussed. Okay, next up, after human error, you've got mechanical failure. Mechanical issues, they contribute to about 21% of aviation accidents. These can result from manufacturing defects, inadequate maintenance, or unforeseen equipment malfunctions during the flight. I'm just going to read something from Flight Failure in a chapter called The Blame Game. Unfortunately, law or no law, many mechanics still face a hostile work environment on the job. They're charged with keeping an airline's planes in the air, but it's the organizational environment they function in that determines their effectiveness. Executives set the strategic direction and tone at a company, while shift supervisors delegate tasks to mechanics with the proviso that they adhere to an established culture. Hopefully, one emphasizing safety. That's how it's supposed to work. All of which to say, you can point fingers, you can say it was, this one person, but a lot of times these stem from a culture that is possibly cutting corners because, profits sometimes over people. And you've got a very competitive industry and they have shareholders that they need to go back to and say, look, we cut corners, we did these things. But unfortunately, sometimes this does not lead to a culture that promotes safety as well as it should. And last up, the weather. Now, I want to tell you that the weather is something that the government manufactures and that it's a huge global conspiracy. And I would love to be a weather truther. But folks, I'm not. I'm just one woman who reads books. Sometimes poor weather conditions, many factors. You got planes, they're in the sky, there's jet propulsion. Unfortunately, sometimes it's in God's hands or whoever's hands, Yahweh, whoever you want to call him, RuPaul, whoever is your, deity in the sky who's controlling the weather, not the U.S. government. Sorry, Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's not the U.S. government, but sometimes it's the weather and it makes up for approximately 11% of aviation accidents. So unfortunately, it does happen. In summation, despite these recent incidences, and I'm not trying to be a Pollyanna here, air travel does remain one of the safest modes of transportation. And according to the International Air Transport Association, the all accident rate decreased from 1.30 per million sectors in 2022 to 0.8 in 2023. And that is indicating an average of one accident for every 880,293 flights. What were the books that we read? Flight Failure, Donald J. Porter, and Why Planes Crash, David Susi with Ozzie Cheek. Thank you for another episode of Bookwise, a podcast from bookclub.com. I'm your host, Dr. Books, and as always, happy reading. For our moment of Zen, which we've been doing recently, I'm going to leave you with a video of an alternate form of transportation. Is it potentially Dr. Books touching grass in a way that a woman of her age should maybe not be doing? Possibly. I don't know. You tell me.